Good evening. My name is Dr. John Newman, and I have the privilege of serving as the Director of Graduate Student Support Programs, as well as being an Associate Professor in the Department of Economics and Finance in the Peter J. Tobin College of Business. On behalf of the University President, Reverend Brian J. Shanley, OP, the Board of Trustees, the University Administration, and the Dean, Faculty, and Administration of the Peter J. Tobin College of Business, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 2021 Virtual Graduate Commencement and Degree Conferral Ceremony for the Peter J. Tobin College of Business. It is my pleasure to introduce M.M. Essian, a Master of Business Administration candidate from the Peter J. Tobin College of Business, who will sing our national anthem. Immediately following the national anthem, please join us in prayer as Reverend Bernard M. Tracy, CM, Executive Vice President for Mission, delivers the invocation.
Today, we gather to confer degrees and celebrate the accomplishments of the class of 2021. Over this past year, you, our graduates, remained resilient and determined despite all the unexpected moments and challenges you faced due to the coronavirus. And for that, we are grateful. At this moment, for those graduating, as your past as students and your future as alumni of St. John's are united, we ask every blessing from our gracious God. May you rejoice in your accomplishments and be thankful for all who have made this moment possible through their loving support: parents, spouses, partners, siblings, friends, mentors, professors, and coaches. Gracious God, sustainer of life, support and strengthening the graduates as they journey into the future, complicated by this coronavirus and its worldwide effects. May you experience God's guidance on your journey in these unprecedented times. May you know God's presence as you reach out to those experiencing injustice and oppression. May you encounter God's peace in your concerns and fears. May you feel God's steadfast love in your faithful witness. May your faith be deepened with every new experience, and your heart be filled with joy and hope in the future. Amen.
Thank you, MM and Father Tracy. Graduates, you have earned your degrees during one of the most challenging periods in modern history. To different extents, we have all dealt with the effects of this worldwide pandemic. The mental, emotional, and physical toll of quarantines, isolation, illness, and/or the threat of illness to ourselves or our loved ones. Some have experienced deep loss. Others have escaped relatively unscathed. But no matter our experience over these last 14 months and counting, I think it is safe to say that most, if not all of us, are different people than we were in February of 2020. You, of course, are different now in that today you graduate with a master's degree from the Tobin College of Business. You have been able to complete your studies while also managing all of the personal challenges that came your way over the last year. You should be commended for that achievement and for that diligence. And we all, everyone at St. John's University and the Tobin College, congratulate you on this accomplishment. We hope that the memories and experiences you take with you from your personal experiences with COVID, the knowledge you have learned in your graduate programs, and the lessons learned from what we have seen done well or poorly in the national and international responses to the pandemic will combine to make you even better prepared global managers as you leave us today and make your way in the world. It is my high honor to now introduce Dr. Norianne R. Sharp, Dean, and Joseph H. and Maria C. Schwartz, Distinguished Chair of the Peter J. Tobin College of Business, who will deliver remarks.
President Shanley, Provost Mueller, members of the faculty, proud parents and families, and most especially the Tobin graduate class of 2021. I want to personally congratulate all of you on your dedication and success. I also want to congratulate the families watching today. I know that education is often a family affair, so I ask all of our graduates to please take time this week to thank your families for their support, love, and encouragement. This past year has been one full of challenges, and you will have lasting memories of these past several months. I wish I could see you in person to shake each of your hands and wish you my personal congratulations as you walk across the stage to receive your diploma. Please know that you have my virtual congratulations, and I hope that you will stay in touch and return often to St. John's to say hello and let us know how you are doing. Over the past few years, you have dedicated yourself to your academic studies, whether you have been working toward your MBA or a master's degree in accounting, actuarial science, entrepreneurship, enterprise risk management, finance, risk and financial advisory, risk management, or taxation. You have expanded your knowledge and skill set. Now you are about to embark on the next phase of your life. I'm going to give you only 3 pieces of advice. First, be courageous. A courageous philosophy is to thrive on uncertainty. Be a risk taker. Embrace change. Be flexible, adaptable, and agile. Be open to twists, turns, and curves in your career and personal life. Life is nonlinear. Welcome disruption and thrive on intervention and innovation. Does this make you vulnerable? Yes, absolutely. But not adopting this philosophy means standing still and missing out on life. It takes courage to change the world. And we need you to use your skills to tackle major societal problems: poverty, homelessness, climate change, economic inequity, and gender and racial inequality. We are counting on you to use your St. John's education to make the world a safer and more equitable place. Second, be curious. Never lose your desire to learn. Education is never ending. Think about the differences between my generation and yours. My world did not have cell phones. We had payphones on the corner. My world did not have laptops. We had typewriters. My world did not have the internet. We had encyclopedias. Can you imagine if we stopped learning when we earned our graduate degrees? Now we have Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and our data in the cloud. And your world will continue to change even more rapidly than ours did. You will need to understand artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotic automation, and other concepts that have not been discovered yet. Become comfortable saying, "I don't know," at least once a day, and asking a question at least 10 times a day. You will need to cultivate curiosity for the rest of your life to be the leaders of your generation. Third, be compassionate. Be more judgmental about ideas and less judgmental about people. Own your mistakes and share your wins. Forget about getting better at what's easy for you. Get better at what's hard for you. And yes, sometimes being compassionate is hard. But titles are meaningless. You will not be remembered for who you are. You will be remembered for what you do. So ask yourself every day, what have I done today to make our society more inclusive and more sustainable? I hope you will embrace your future with courage, curiosity, and compassion. Take risks, welcome uncertainty, be agile and adaptable. Don't be afraid to experiment, to explore, and to be entrepreneurial. I wish all of you the best as you embark on your careers. Congratulations to the graduate class of 2021.
Thank you, Dean Sharp. At this time, it is my honor and privilege to introduce you to our distinguished ceremony speaker, alumna Rahel G. Solomon, correspondent and reporter for CNBC, and a 2010 Tobin College of Business graduate.
Graduates of 2021, it's a privilege to be speaking with you today. 11 years ago, I sat on the great lawn of the Queens campus with my family as I prepared to walk across the stage, receive my diploma from St. John's, and enter the real world. The world looks very different these days. You're watching this online instead of all of us being together on campus. It's been a rough year for many of us. And while things are improving, the pandemic is still not quite behind us. The labor market, while bouncing back, is still shaky. And from where you're sitting, perhaps the future looks a bit uncertain. How do you plan your career or this stage of your life when no one planned for this, the world that we find ourselves in today? To some degree, I know how that feels. When I graduated in 2010 with a finance degree from the Peter J. Tobin College of Business, the country and the world was still reeling from the financial crisis of 2008. We were exiting a recession, but companies were still rescinding offers, freezing the hiring process, and definitely not aggressive about bringing on new people. It was a scary time. It was even scarier to be graduating with a business degree. But as they say, hindsight is 20/20. And what I have seen since then, in those 11 years since graduating from St. John's, gives me great confidence for all of you watching. The future is bright. Things do generally work out, even when you can't possibly see how they could. I have found that with hard work, passion, and kindness, you can ride out any storm. There were jobs that I did not get when I graduated that at the time left me devastated, questioning if I had what it takes, would I ever accomplish the things I wanted to accomplish. But as I said, things have a funny way of working out, so long as you put in the work and do your part. When I graduated from St. John's, I had some last semester cold feet about my career choices. My friends that I graduated with were all going off to prestigious graduate programs, jobs, or fellowships, and I just felt stuck. I was frustrated with the outlook of the economy, but also just felt unsure about what I wanted to do. While I loved my classes here at St. John's, I realized I didn't want to work at a bank, but I also didn't know what it was that I did want to do. So I moved back home to Philadelphia. After 4 years of studying and living on the Queens and Manhattan campuses, I moved back into my parents' house. Come to think of it, I don't know which was worse, living under my mom's roof again or living in the Donovan residence halls freshman year. Back then, it was called the D Block. I digress. Moving back home felt like a huge setback. I felt like a failure. When I moved back home, again, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just leaned into what I enjoyed, writing. When I was in high school, I wrote for the high school newspaper and delivered the news in the morning for the broadcast program. Looking back, maybe I should have enrolled in the communications program here at St. John's, but what can I say? I took the scenic route. Once back in Philly, I applied for any and everything remotely close to writing and ultimately interned for free at a public relations company. Most of my friends and family thought I had lost my mind, and I at times wondered the same. I just graduated from college and was interning and making no money. It sometimes felt like yet another setback. I didn't know much about PR because, again, I studied finance, but figured at least I'd get to write, so let's start here. But from that opportunity, I met local journalists and took every opportunity to get close to a newsroom. I would email and email and email and ask anyone and everyone to let me shadow them. And to my surprise, people were accommodating. With every visit to a newsroom, I became more confident that this was the career I wanted to pursue. When I finally got my foot in the door of a newsroom, it had been more than a year since I graduated from St. John's. It was a very entry-level position as a production assistant. Essentially, I would run the scripts out to the anchors of the show, sometimes literally run when there was breaking news. I'd also run the teleprompter for the anchors. Not exactly what most would consider glamorous television, but I was in. I had my first gig, I had a badge, and you couldn't tell me nothing. I worked the 3:30 a.m. shift. Yes, 3:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday. And I didn't have a car, so my mom would wake up every day to drive me to work. But she knew, like I knew, I was paying my dues. The road won't always be smooth, but remember your why. Who do you want to be in the world? What do you want your contribution to be? Do what others won't, and try to do it with a smile. And when the road gets tough, hold on to your why. My first job in front of the camera took me to Charleston, West Virginia, a beautiful but rural state. It was different than anything I knew. I grew up in a big city and pretty much always lived in a big city. But moving to such a different place forced me to grow. It taught me how to connect with people who initially seemed so different than me. Sometimes your greatest opportunities come in unexpected packages, and I've also learned we're a lot more alike than we think. But West Virginia wasn't just difficult for me because it was different. It was difficult because I knew no one, no family, no friends, but they were willing to take a chance on me. And to me, it was like that first job in Philly. I knew I was in. I would pay my dues and I would work hard. From there, I moved to Denver, Colorado, and as you've probably gathered by this point, journalism takes you to many places. It's part of the reason I love my job. But essentially, my story in Colorado was the same. No family, no friends, just sheer determination to climb the ladder of local television. With each job and new landscape, there were new challenges. I see now how each stop along the way made me a better, stronger person and a more well-rounded journalist. These days, I'm a reporter for CNBC, a recognized world leader in business news. We air in 800 million homes worldwide, including 100 million here in the US and Canada. If you asked me 11 years ago as I sat on the Great Lawn, terrified about my future, if I'd ever have this type of access and be seen by millions, I'd never believe it. I also could not predict how my finance or economics classes would come in handy in my journalism career. They felt completely separate. But in CNBC, I have found a great match. At times, it can feel like your academic experience won't be relevant when you enter the real world. But at least in my experience, it did matter. What you studied here is important, and the tools you have equipped you to face whatever challenge lies ahead. Whether you want to work in journalism, law, management, whatever it is, the formula isn't magical. Now, timing is important, but the bulk of it, I think, is hard work, passion, and kindness. The world is a small place. Build genuine relationships and be kind to others. Enjoy this process. Even if it's different than you expected or bumpier than you'd like, take it in. There's so much that I miss about being a freshly minted college graduate. If you have something already lined up, congratulations. If you don't, that's all right too. You'll get there. Lean into what feels good or your passions. Lean into the fine education you received here at St. John's and your connections, both those around you right now and cultivate new ones. Treat people well and ultimately have faith. It all works out. And even if you take the scenic route, like I did, you'll get there and likely have a better story to tell once you do. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you, Rahel. At this most significant moment in the lives of our graduates, we customarily ask a student to speak on behalf of their classmates. It is now my privilege to present to you this year's student speaker, Caitlin Newkirk, a Master of Science candidate.
Good afternoon. Distinguished guests, family, friends, administration, professors, and most of all, to the Distinguished Graduate Division of the Peter J. Tobin College of Business, Class of 2021, welcome to Commencement. As we begin, I would like to extend a special thanks to our President, Reverend Brian Shanley, our Board of Trustees, and our Dean, Dr. Noreen Sharp. I am honored and humbled to have the opportunity to commemorate the memories and accomplishments of our outstanding class. My name is Caitlin Newkirk, and I'm graduating with a Master's of Science in Taxation. As Ralph Waldo Emerson is credited for saying, life is about the journey, not the destination. And oh, what a journey it's been. We all had different pathways that brought us here today. For me, the excursion began with a love of taxation, inspired by my undergraduate tax professor. She helped me to understand the importance of tax, challenged me to appreciate its ever-changing nature, and enlightened me on how I could use my tax knowledge to help others. That inspiration sent me on a career path that included roles in Big Four and regional public accounting, rising to the level of Director of Tax at the Gorilla Glue Company, before having the opportunity to fulfill my dream, teaching in higher education, which led me to St. John's MST. As our time at St. John's comes to a close, I want us all to take a moment to reflect on our journey. From the professors who challenged us, to the class discussions that enlightened us, from the lifelong friends made and group projects completed, to the research papers written and exams passed. While not every step on the journey to this day has been easy, the challenges only make us stronger. Earning a graduate degree is no easy feat, especially during a global pandemic. But we didn't do it alone. We wouldn't be here today without the endless support of our families, friends, colleagues, and professors. Thank you to everyone that supported each of us, and a special thanks to my husband, parents, and sons for always being there for me. Words cannot express the pride I feel that one day my boys, now 6 and 8 years old, will look back and understand why snuggles with mom in her bed were frequently shared with paper and textbooks. As we go our separate ways, with face masks on and sanitizer in hand, and blaze our own trail following graduation, I'll leave you with some inspirational advice shared by Denzel Washington. I've found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Fall forward. Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks. You will fail at something at some point in your life. Accept it. You will lose. You will embarrass yourself. You will suck at something. There's no doubt about it. Never be discouraged. Never look back. Give everything you've got, and when you fall in life, fall forward. I wish you all a bright future full of joy and success. Enjoy this moment, in a socially distanced manner, of course. You earned it. Congratulations.
Thank you, Caitlin. It gives me great pleasure to now introduce you to our University Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Simon Moeller.
Good evening, and welcome to the St. John's University's Graduate Virtual Commencement and Degree Conferral Ceremony for the class of 2021. On behalf of the entire university community, thank you for joining us as we honor and recognize the achievements of our graduates from our Queens, Staten Island, and Manhattan campuses. As we come to the close of our sesquicentennial anniversary year, celebrating 150 years faithful to the mission, we take the time to honor the generations of Johnnies who came before us, as well as you, our soon-to-be St. John's graduates. This evening, we come together as a university community to congratulate and to confer the degrees of our graduate students who have worked so hard to complete their academic studies. We know that at times you have faced challenges, but you have shown tremendous resilience, and we are so very proud of you and your achievements. During the ceremony, we will individually recognize each of our graduates by reading their name and presenting their graduate slide. Following the ceremony, graduates, families, and friends will be able to view and download individual graduate slides directly from the website. And now, Reverend President, as Provost, it is my privilege, having been duly informed by the deans and faculty, to certify that the candidates who are presented for degrees have satisfactorily completed all coursework leading to those degrees. It is my honor to introduce the President of St. John's University, Reverend Brian J. Shanley, OP.
Thank you, Dr. Moeller. At a pivotal moment in The Lord of the Rings, Frodo, the ring bearer, laments, "I wish it need not have happened in my time." Gandalf the wizard replies, "So do I, and so do all who live to see such times, but that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us." We all wish that the pandemic did not happen in our time, but it did. And we all had to decide what to do with the difficult time given to us. You chose to finish your education and get your graduate degree from St. John's University. That accomplishment was not easy. You had to battle not only the coronavirus, but many other obstacles as well. Negotiating multiple modes of instruction, technological challenges, economic stress, anxiety, isolation, and uncertainty. But you did it. I admire and applaud you for what you have accomplished. In completing your degree in this difficult time, you learned a valuable lesson about yourself that bodes well for your future. You have grit, which the psychologist Angela Duckworth describes as the combination of passion and perseverance in the pursuit of a singular goal. It is the mark of high achievers, and it lies within you. But grit alone did not get you to this moment. You were supported, encouraged, and nurtured by family, friends, and fellow members of the St. John's community, from faculty to administrators to friends. As you reflect upon the people who helped you to achieve this goal, say a prayer of thanks to God for them, and let them know how grateful you are for what they have given you. Start with the people you are watching this with. One of the disguised blessings that we can find in this difficult time is not to take anything for granted. You graduate from St. John's University at a critical moment in its history as we celebrate our 150th anniversary. Just as individuals can develop grit over time, so too can institutions. St. John's history is marked by difficult periods when it persevered through wars, epidemics, economic downturns, 9/11, and all the other hardships that our city and our country have known. The passion for the underlying Catholic and Vincentian mission to educate first-generation students has been faithfully served and strengthened throughout its history. Your grit comes from the history of St. John's grit. One of the marks of grit is hope. Hope is not a state of denial about the difficulties that must be faced. It is rather an optimism that with persistence, passion, and purpose, we can together fashion a better and more just world to the benefit of our brothers and sisters. It is for this mission that we have given you your gritty St. John's education. Go forth from here with that hope. knowing that underneath all grit lies the loving grace of God, who brought you to St. John's and now sends you forth. May that God guide and bless all you do. Having received the testimony of the dean and the university provost that these candidates have satisfactorily complied with all the requirements demanded by the statutes, by the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents of the State of New York, with the approval of the Board of Trustees of St. John's University, and as president of the university, I hereby confer the degrees named to these candidates and bestow on them every right and privilege attached to these degrees. Congratulations. And now the moment that you have all worked so long and hard for, the presentation of the graduates for individual recognition.
Phil Joseph Abad, Satara Abbas, Alan Abramson, Cameron Achong, Dominic Acosta, Damian Acuna, Monique Agro, Dina Aglio, Lisa Agolia, Ryan Ahmed, Derek Ajay, Brandon Alcaid, Athena Altadonna, Onyekachi Amefla, Anita Arjarova, Mihal Aranova, Gasper Artali, Kimberly Atanasio, Juliana Avila, Elena Beato, Paul Bahada, Amanda Balak, Nervetta Balgabind, Nicole Bellina, Amanda Ballinger, Tony Ballion, Irene Bow, Dion Barnes, Stephanie Bassarag, Michael Bassett, Jamie Bauman, Elihan Bolu, Rebecca Beers, Joseph Bertone, Tashin Bouillon, James Bianco, Dawson Balecki, Arshiana Noshin Binte Mahbub, Camilla Biscarini, Marie Bogue, Madeline Bonsignor, Joseph Bontempi, Thomas Bonviso, Austin Briggs, Randy Briscoe, Leslie Brito, Donovan Brophy, Ajani Brown, Sidney Brown, Arian Brunson, Michael Bulone, Jihan Tsai, Edwin Calderon, Marco Camus Romero, Noah Candarazzi, Mariah Capone, John Castellane, Sabrina Castelli, Alex Catterson, Joseph Cavalcanti, Frank Cirillo, Julimar Cespedes, Chase Chetta, Ariel Chacon Arroyo, Esther Chai, Lai Cam Alice Chan, Matthew Chan, Jacob Chalka, Amy Chen, Catherine Chen, Hongjun Chen, Yufei Chen, Paul Choi, Brianna Sichalski, Gina Chiochiari, Frederick Coffey, Isaiah Coles, Chase Collado, Aaliyah Collins, Matthew Connolly, Daniela Corasaniti, Alexandra Corridor Perdomo, Victoria Cotter, James Coyle Romano, Daniela Krakalisi, Cole Crenshaw, Carlo Crivo, Kendra Croker, Maureen Crow, Nichelle Cruz, Caitlin Curran, Matthew Dumbockley, John Demoulis, Celeste Daniel, Frederick Davis, Sean DeYager, Daniel Del Pozo, Leonard Denneker, Lisa Dionaran, Dino Diano, Russell DeGate, Catherine DeMayo, Joseph DeMayo, Joshua Dinkins, Pavla Dokic, Daniel Donsel, Caitlin Donovan, Anthony Drago, Elliot Drexler, Chamberlain Drury, Biondina Duca, Daria Erland, Christina Ebanks, Teresa Ihiogu, Benicia Emiliano, Luis Enriquez, Carl Enstrom, Temitayo Aipomolu, Courtney Erickson, Ivan Esperanz, Emim Essien, Rachel Estrella, Alexander Figueroa, Christopher Philippidis, Tyler Finn, Michael Fleischer, Andrew Flood, Stephen Florence, Alexia Flores, Nicolo Florio, Tyler Fogel, John Fomenique, Ryan Forbes, Patrick Fordyce, Sarah Frendo, George Gage, Carlos Garcia, Stephen Garcia, Tamara Garcia, Wilver Garcia Juarez, Luisa Garnica, Arshley Georges, Samantha Gill, Gurjot Gill, Julia Gilmore, Leonarda Gizone, Michael Judice, Abiola Jiwa, Claudia Joki, Lauren Gonzalez, Sarah Gottlieb, Harris Grassa, Daniel Green, Katarina Guerrero, Johanna Gillen, Robert Geyer-Indak, Ryan Hack, Benin Hamdan, Christine Hari Prasad, Ashana Harp, Vasilis Hatsini Kolau, Jian Sai He, Kendra Hebenstreit, Matthew Hayden, Alexa Hempel, Sean Hendricks, Olson Henry, Warren Hicks, Nicholas Hindy, Connor Hodgson, Suzanne Hom, Jonathan Hondon, Anul Hossain, Isha Hossain, Kezia Hu, Anna Huang Chi, Youngheng Huang, Jennifer Hug, Ayana Ibarra, Godwin Aboyati, Henry Iglesias, Christopher Imparato, Caitlin Infante, Janine Ingebeyer, Iriti Isabor, Avid Izapajanaromi, Jarrell Jerome, Shiyun Jiang, Yue Kun Jiao, Christy Johnson, Robert Jones, Nicholas Jonikos, Ruth Jr., Carolina Coletta, Zachary Kapailovic, Shahana Kareem, Matthew Karnofsky, Amaya Karunanayaka, Amanda Katsanos, Sabrina Katsanos, Tommy Katsanos, Joshua Catton, Nicholas Kaufman, Adam Carney, Ryan Kelly, Trisha Kelly, Cameron Kahn, Timothy Keel, Brenda Kean, Christopher Kilker, Sohyun Kim, Maria Kingen, Gabriella Klinger, Daniel Kogut, Nicholas Kanoako, Vanessa Lacasia, Megan Lake, Joan Lansden, Shelby Lau, Samantha Lorelli, Samantha Lex, Yunbin Lee, Micaiah Lee, Jeanette Liu, Xiyin Liang, Si Lin, Katerina Laponica, George Lisa, Zhenmeng Liu, Sun Shui Liu, Zerong Liu, Jessica Liviano, Richard Locke, Veronica Lombardi, Michael Long, Christopher Lowe, Diana Loyola, Yuhan Liu, Zia Luo, Brendan Lynch, Joseph Madsen, Michael Madsen, Adam McGowan, Maribel Mann, Doriana Morando, Sheridan March, Daniel Marchese, Julianne Marsala, Asia Martin, Stephen Martone, Igor Maslov, Kostas Mastoris, James Mastrogiannis, Jamie Mayo, James Maze, Jane Mbaba, Skyla McBean Adams, Matthew McCarran, Ludmilla McGann, Kevin McGee, Kayla McLaughlin, Michael McManus, James Medeiros, Jennifer Medna, David Magaro, Dana Melville, David Mensa, Juan Carlos Merlo, Lauren Marula, Andrew Millite, Mark Miller, Anthony Molinaro, James Mutafis, Sonia Moylan, Ricardo Munoz, Elena Napoli, Anthony Najukis, Michael Nella, Joseph Neville, Caitlin Newkirk, Dana Marie Nikolak, Barbara Nolasco, Chanel Norman, Kiana Nunez, Patrick O'Connor, Simon Odie, Jennifer O'Demina, Michael O'Neill, Paola Osa, Luca Pagotto, Leslie Palomares, Diana Paredes, Christian Parente, Pooja Parikh, Yang Peng, Karen Panaccio, Layla Parazic, Michael Perez, Dhiram Prasad, Maya Prasad, Seth Prasad, Paul Patrone, Christopher Petsanis, Me Pham, Anna Marie Philip Nuris, Douglas Pinelli, Zachary Piper, Frank Popper, Alexa Portaro, Ariana Prashad, John Privricki, Sarah Kadir, Ryan Keelis, Edwin Quispe, Ifat Rahman, Caitlin Rama, Jonathan Romlall, Nicholas Rathkamp, Sandra Rauschendorfer, David Reich, L'Oreal Reed, Joshua Riley, Sienna Richardson, Marianella Rivera, Raymond Rivera, Giovanni Rizzo, Bria Robinson, Darwin Rodriguez, Sean Rodriguez, Brian Rogers, Utesh Rohu, Stephanie Rojas, Kevin Rascioli, Janice Russell, Olivia Russell, Matthew Sabella, Thomas Sabella, Stephen Saccone, Bahar Sadre Musavi, Alma Sanchez, Fianna Sandy, Angel Santiago, Elizabeth Santos, Matthew Scala, Ryan Schaefer, Sarah Schmidt, Brendan Schroeder, Stephen Schultz,
Arif Shamuddin,
Jenna Shea, Lauren Sergiu, Thomas Smith, Patrick Smith, Jamie Soderman, Diana Solis, Chris Song, Anthony Stankety, Antonio Suarez, Amanda Sudolski, Amrita Sugram Singh, Eric Sue, Jade Sullivan, Nicole Sung, Michelle Suter, Francesca Talamo, Carmen Tam, Amanda Taormina, Alyssa Toronto, David Target, Aspasia Tavantis, Ariel Taylor, Demario Tavanyan, Joyce Thomas, Khalifa Thomas, Kaylin Thompson, Nicole Thompson, Ronald Thompson, Blaze Tiafak, Faye Tong, Patrick Tracy, Brandon Trefser, Nicholas Trusnovek, Brandon Tularam, Jasmine Turner, Alec Wee, Lajanique Valentine, Gemly Vander, Alessio Vasali, Madison Vetri, Ana Vadia, Felipe Vilches Hernandez, Alicia Villafana, Caitlin Villagran, Bruno Violand, Vasilios Vlahos, Kevin Wallace, Brandon Walwyn, Yulin Wong, Katie Warren, Patricia Watts, Antoinette Wei, Aning Wei, Jonathan Weiss, Barbara Wilczewski, Mackenzie Wild, Nicole Wines, Connie Wong, Jody Wong, Christine Wolford, Nicholas Wunsch, Enlin Xiao, Jia Shu, Yun Shu, Liana Yatsunsky, Guangyu Ye, Xiaolan Ye, Yi Yuan, Melina Zanfordino, Nicholas Zangrillo, Katarzyna Zanko, Ronald Zekti, Yingyu Zhang, Zihan Zhang, Hesen Zhao, Yibo Zhao, Jian Zhang, Christy Zhang, Zheyu Zhu, Dahao Zhuo, Nicole Ziegler.
On behalf of the St. John's family, we extend our heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to all of our newest alumni, the graduates of the Peter J. Tobin College of Business graduate class of 2021. Congratulations. We are confident that you, the class of 2021, will make us all proud and that you will all continue to make a difference in the world. And now, to close our ceremony, I am pleased to introduce the St. John's University Mixed Chorus, Voices of Victory and Alumni, directed by Nigel W. Gretton and Clark Kim Oler, who will perform the St. John's alma mater, Old St. John's. Once again, congratulations to each and every one of you in the class of 2021.